And I'm Rebecca.
And this is Education Element, a show that is a good opportunity for us to geek out about our favorite topic, education. We're both educators and we are not classroom teachers, though we love our classroom teachers. I'm a school psychologist.
And I'm a speech language pathologist.
And we spend a lot of time talking about this, and it's fun for us. And so we thought, hey, why don't we put it on a video? Why don't we record it so that we can get other people involved in the conversation?
So here we go.
Here we go. Today we're going to be talking about growth mindsets, which is really kind of grown out of the work of Dr. Carol Dweck, who has written an excellent book called Mindset. And she's done a lot of TED Talks and presentations and articles and things about how mindset works in education. And when we first decided to talk about mindset, the growth mindset to be particular, I started thinking about it in terms of labels. And that was kind of where my head went first. And as I've been reading Dr. Dweck's book, she talks about labels, but it's not the only thing she talks about. But the first thing that came to my mind was an experience that I had in a meeting that we sit in our problem-solving meetings. So here's a student with a problem. How do we solve this problem? How do we help this student? And I remember sitting in a meeting and a teacher saying, well, that kid's just a liar. And I was like, oh my goodness.
No kid is just a liar.
No kid is just a liar. In fact, that kid is not a liar. He's a child who told a lie. Like, there's a big difference between being a liar and being a child that told a lie. And so I was thinking about how we give kids labels and what those labels mean for the kid, because the kid hears it. Like, you know, you're naughty, you made a bad, like...
These kids never listen.
Yeah. And I've always, throughout my life, been really lucky to have encouraging people that have told me, you can do things, you can do hard things. But I've seen a lot of kids who have this message of, you're not good enough, or you're never going to be a good reader, or you're never going to be a good kid. And that breaks my heart. I mean, you see all these kids that basically think I'm bad. Mm-hmm. And that label is so devastating because they genuinely believe I'm bad.
Or even if they're not bad, that they're dumb.
Yeah, so I'm bad or I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because Dr. Dweck talks about how devastating negative labels can be, but also positive labels. When we tell kids that they're smart, if I'm smart and that's where my value is, then I don't
know how to handle something that's hard.
Yeah, I don't know how to handle something that's hard, or if I fail at something, then I'm worthless.
Right.
And so it's more like this idea that I have to, if I can't meet this label, if I can't perform, then I'm worthless. I fail. And
because that's where my only value was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of yet, which I think is, if you could boil growth mindset down into one word, it's the word yet. Yeah. I can't do it yet. I guess we should explain exactly what the growth mindset is, which this idea that we can really achieve anything. And Dr. Dweck doesn't say anybody can do anything. I mean, there's other things that are involved. There's more to it than that. But I think that's kind of the general idea. Is that kind of your impression of what the growth mindset is?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to be a little careful because obviously not everybody's going to be president of the United States. Not everybody's going to be a ballerina. But the idea is that you can always get better. You can always grow. And hard work gets you better.
Yeah.
Not that you have to be completely just naturally talented in something, but that hard work will get you closer to that goal.
Yeah, and she talks a lot about that in terms of effort. Like, my level of effort is what determines my level of success, not necessarily my level of ability.
Right.
And this has kind of thrown me for a loop, learning more about this, because as a school psychologist, a lot of what I do is administering and understanding and analyzing test results. And she talks about intelligence, like anybody can have more intelligence. Anybody can grow their intelligence. And that, for me, was like kind of contrary to everything that we learned about intelligence testing in school. And at first, when I was learning about this, I was thinking, well, is she talking about intelligence or knowledge? Because there's a difference. Knowledge being, what
quantity.
You know, and intelligence being the process by which you come to know that. So if I have, if my intelligence is high, then the processes that I need to get the information into my head
smoother.
Yeah, it's easier to do.
Right.
And so I have, all through my education been told this is, you have what you have and you don't get more, and some people get less when they have traumatic brain injuries, and that's it.
Yeah, and good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And it's really, it's really hard because she talks about it in terms of something that we can develop and something that we can increase. And there's a lot of snake oil out there in this particular area saying, do this app or do these crossword puzzles and you'll
or these exercises
and really
essential oils.
When you do those things, developing a skill for that thing. So if I do this brain teaser activity every day, I'm going to get better at that brain teaser, but I'm not actually developing or strengthening my cognitive process. I'm just getting good at the skill.
Right.
And so it's really hard for me to kind of reconcile the difference between this growth mindset and the way that I've been taught about cognitive assessments for a long time. But I'm beginning to see cognitive assessments in a different way, where we're looking at kind of the raw materials. So here's what you have
right now
to begin with now. And we've always looked at achievement testing that way, or at least I have. I've always seen achievement testing as, here's your abilities right now. Mm-hmm. So you can, you've got, in comparison to your peers, you can do math at this level, you can do reading comprehension at this level, whatever. But IQ has been, if you got a 90 IQ today, and 10 years from now, if we test you again, you're going to have a 90 IQ or, within a confidence interval about that. And so it's interesting to think of it in terms of, can someone improve their IQ, which I don't know the answer to. And she doesn't really...
I was going to say, does she describe that in her book or talk about that?
If she does, I haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
I'm not finished with it. I'm about halfway finished. But she gives an example of giving kids some tasks from a nonverbal IQ test and how they she takes like 10 kids that do some items from a nonverbal IQ test, and they're about the same. Like they wouldn't expect these 20 kids to do
any differently,
but they have 10 kids in one group and 10 kids in another group, and they say to the first 10, when they do the problems, when they're finished, they say, you've done you worked really hard, or you got 8 right, you must have worked really hard, you're really good at working hard. And then the other group, they say, you got 8 right, you must be really smart at this.
So it's the difference between being smart and working hard.
Yeah, and so when she says to the kids, you've worked hard, when they give them more that are challenging and that they don't know how to do, or that they're challenged by, those kids kind of relish the challenge and they're excited to figure out what to do.
Right.
And how to do it. Whereas the smart kids are going to just give up and say, I don't know how to do this, because they equate failure with
losing their smart.
I'm not smart anymore, so I must not be able to do this, and so they give up. And looking at my own life, I feel like this is me in math. Like, I could do math all through until about 3rd, 4th grade, and then all my life up until that point, Victoria, you're so smart, and then long division. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. And I vividly remember sitting at a desk, and I'm pretty sure I was at a desk separated from the group because I was always getting other kids in trouble. But I was sitting there, and my teacher came over, and I said, I don't know how to do this. She showed me step by step how to do long division. And then we did a problem together, and then she walked away, and I went, oh my gosh, I have no idea what just happened. Like, I have no idea how to do this anymore. And all my life, it was, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart. And then I was like, I don't know how to do this. So what conclusion did I come to? I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
I can't do math. And from that point on, it was I can't do math. And even though, which it doesn't even make sense because all through, 5th and 6th and 7th grade when we were doing pre-algebra, I could do it.
You were fine.
I was fine. It was only long division that was hard. But because I struggled with long division, I developed this mindset, I'm bad at math.
And then every time you go to do math, you're so emotional about it, you're in the wrong side of your brain and it's hard.
Yeah, so I can't do it. And recently I was having to take the GRE again, and I sat down with one of our resource teachers who was so kind to go through the math with me. And we went through my practice test, and every question that I got wrong, he showed me how to do it correctly. And then I would do another one just like it on my own, and I realized I can do this. Why did I think for so long that I couldn't do this?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that we have kind of a spectrum where she talks about fixed mindsets and she talks about growth mindsets and how those two things are polar opposites. But it's not like, hi, I'm Victoria and I have a fixed mindset.
And hi, I'm Rebecca. I have a growth mindset.
Because there have been times in my life where I've had a very growth mindset, where I've been, graduate school was hard for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't
you had
give up.
to become a hard worker.
And I had to say, I can do this. And I had to be able to accept that these are hard things and I still can do them. There have been times in my life where I've had a really fixed mindset and said, nope, I give up. I can't do this.
Do you think there's a capacity for how much of a growth mindset you can have? Like, for me, I feel like if I have a really big growth mindset in my career and in my education, then forget about having a growth mindset with like physical goals. Like that's too much right now. I give up on that.
Right.
It's too hard.
I think that's really funny because I think part of the growth mindset is saying that the capacity, the limit is unknowable. And that's something that Dr. Dweck talks about a lot, is the potential of a person is unknowable. So you can have a kid who has a learning disability and say this person is only going to be able to do this well in life, which is the fixed mindset, or we have no idea how well this person could do. And it really, I think it has a lot to do with motivation. Mm-hmm. And what you want in life. So do I want to be successful in this area? Do I want to be able to do that? But I've come across the same thing where this last year I've focused a lot on physical health and improving my physical health. And there have been days where I thought, if I'm going to be able to meet this goal, there's just not enough
something else
resources.
Has to go.
And so I think, like, personally, we have a certain amount of resources. Mm-hmm. And what the growth mindset is all about is really that word, yet. So I can't do this yet, or I don't have the resources for it right now.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that I'll never have the resources for it. And so having an open mind about your ability and the opportunities that you may have in the future to excel in that area. Like I couldn't do very well in this math, but that wasn't the end of it. Like I could continue to try, and eventually I did improve my ability.
Yeah. And I like the idea of motivation too, because really right now my motivation is my career and my education, and my motivation isn't losing 10 pounds or whatever. Like, I'm motivated more and I get more emotional feedback and positive feedback from my career and my education. So that's where I want to focus and I want my growth mindset to be.
Yeah.
So I think that motivation is key too.
I loved the video that you sent me earlier this week that was kind of going over this for kids, mm-hmm. where it's this little brain and talking about the brain as a muscle, and just like muscles get stronger, your brain gets stronger as you learn. And the thing that I really liked in that video was saying you didn't know how to talk when you were a baby.
Yeah.
And you learned.
Right.
You learned how to talk, and you learned how to do so many things. And just like you learned how to talk, just like you learned how to walk, you can learn how to read. You can learn how to do anything.
Right.
And this
long division.
You can learn long division. One day I'm going to sit down and I'm going to learn long division. I'm going to make Mike help me. That's our resource teacher. But I really enjoy the idea that if we target a specific thing and say, you can be better at this, you can be better, because it's always been my philosophy that if you treat a kid like a bad kid, he's going to be a bad kid. And if you treat a kid like a dumb kid, he's going to be a dumb kid. And so if I say...
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's because if I say you're dumb, then you believe that.
Right.
One of my favorite comedians, Mike Birbiglia, he talks about when he was a kid and his older brother told him that he was retarded. And he's like, am I? And he didn't have the courage to ask. So for a long time, he believed that he was retarded. He didn't know. And I just think, how many times do we put a label on a kid and they have to just sit in it and live with it and say, this is what I am. So we have a lot of stuff that we want to talk about with regards to growth mindset, but there's not enough time. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep talking about it in the future. But if you want to learn more about growth mindsets and the resources that we've talked about, check out our Facebook page. We'll have all of the resources posted there, but there's also going to be a list of resources below. So thanks for joining us.
For Education Element.
And have a good week.